Go out together and.
All right.
Okay, we are live on Facebook. What time we got? We got about a minute. Couple minutes. All right, so we're a couple minutes early, folks. You get to see the behind the scenes. This is my guest this morning. His name is Tino Pucci. Say hi, Tino.
Hi.
He is owner of Mobile Radon Diagnostics. He was the first in Cincinnati.
One of the first.
One of the first in Cincinnati to have anything to do with radon. And we're going to talk all about that in just a little while. We got a lot of things coming up. We've got the Miles trivia question. I've got my music trivia. We've got a lot of questions from folks about radon. We're going to talk about that. I would be amiss if I did not introduce you to my producer, Dan.
Hey, good morning.
He's the most important person here this morning, because if it wasn't for Dan, you would not be able to hear us. And I often say this, but I think he should get a raise. He works too hard for the money he makes. We're not going to tell the owners of WDJO that. Maybe we should call up and say, "Hey guys, give him a raise." Now I'm getting myself in deep water. So I'm going to plug in the studio feed. You're going to get the recorded music, the news, the weather, and pretty soon you're going to hear the Rock and Roll Real Estate Hour. We've got John watching already, so thanks for tuning in, John.
We're gonna dance, dance, dance. We're gonna dance, dance, dance. And we're gonna get on up, get on up. We're gonna do the monkey, the Philly dog too. We're gonna do the jazz, just me and you. We're gonna dance, dance, dance. We're gonna shake a leg. We're gonna do the thing tonight. So get on up, and sock it to me. Get on up, and rock it to me. Get on up.
From the Victoria Station Studios, this is 1480 WDJO Cincinnati.
ABC News Now, I'm Mona Rivera. President Trump is leaving early from the G7 summit in Canada today with no breakthroughs on trade. ABC's David Wright is in Quebec.
A trade war is in nobody's interest. However, Donald Trump is already looking past this summit to the next summit that he's headed to later today, heading to Singapore to sit down with Kim Jong-un.
Trump's summit with the North Korean dictator begins on Tuesday. A prosecutor in France says celebrity chef Anthony Bourdain used a belt from a bathrobe to hang himself. He was found dead Friday in his French hotel room. Authorities in South Florida trapped an alligator they believe killed a woman who was walking her dogs near a lake. A woman's arm was found inside the reptile. One of the dogs was injured. A championship parade is scheduled Tuesday in Oakland for the Golden State Warriors. They swept the Cleveland Cavaliers to win their second straight NBA championship and their third title in 4 years. This is ABC News.
Very warm and humid today with clouds and some sunshine. There'll be a couple of afternoon showers and a thunderstorm, high 89. Rather cloudy tonight with a couple of showers and a heavy thunderstorm. Watch for flash flooding, low 69. Variable clouds tomorrow with a couple of showers and a thunderstorm, high 86. Still a couple of showers and a heavy thunderstorm, high 83 on Monday. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Heather Zayer on Cincinnati's Oldies Network, WDJO.
The following is a paid program. Its views and opinions are not necessarily those of this station or its management.
Good morning, and welcome to the Rock and Roll Real Estate Hour starring Gary Rossignol of RE/MAX Preferred Group. To be part of the program, dial 513-563-1480 to get your answers to questions about your home and property. That number again, 513-563-1480. Now, here's Gary.
Hey, happy summer festival season, folks. That's where we are. And I look forward to Saturday mornings because I enjoy bringing you interesting thoughts on real estate, music, and life in Greater Cincinnati. Bringing you entertaining guests is my number one goal each week, and today I have a gentleman who specializes in a very technical aspect of real estate. We still don't know a whole lot about radon. He is the owner of one of the oldest running companies in his field, Mr. Tino Pucci of Mobile Radon Diagnostics. Hey, you're getting a standing ovation already.
Good morning.
Many people just brush over it. Fact is, they don't know and maybe don't want to know about radon. And maybe they want to save money. Who knows? But we'll talk about all that. But first, give you a chance to win a $5 gift card to our favorite coffee joint, Starbucks. Here's my trivia question for the day. Jot this number down, 513-563-1480. If you know the answer, call up, and Dan will get your information, and we'll get you a $5 gift card to Starbucks. The song Mr. Tambourine Man was written and recorded by one famous recording artist and later re-recorded and made famous by another group. Just name either one of them, and you will get a $5 gift card to Starbucks. Again, the song Mr. Tambourine Man was written and recorded by one famous recording artist and later re-recorded and made famous by another group. Name either of them, and you'll get yourself a $5 gift card to Starbucks. So there you have it. You know the answer. You do.
I do.
We talked about it off the air. Yeah. Oh my! Some of them are really easy. I try and tax them a little bit, so you have to think a little bit. Maybe you have to go to Google and Google it, but you can do that too. I don't care. So I've been looking forward to talk to you about this because it's a concern that comes up, and I've got some ethical questions later. I won't tax you too much. We'll keep it within the realm of your expertise, which is pretty wide. I mean, you know a lot about radon. You've been around for how many years now?
31.
31 years you've
Mobile
been doing
radon,
this?
yeah.
Yeah, wow. That's a long time.
It is.
I got my license about 32 years ago, and I don't remember anything about radon for quite a while after I had my license.
Yeah.
So, but you were way ahead of the game. You were outside the box back then. Did you do a lot of business starting off?
Mostly testing.
Okay.
Started out testing and then moved into more of the mitigation.
Okay. Is your business half and half, or do you do more mitigation
Oh,
than testing?
no, mostly mitigation.
Do you?
Yeah,
Okay.
we of course can test and do test, but mostly mitigation.
Once you do the mitigation, you have to go back and do a test once again as well.
Yes,
Yeah.
correct.
Right.
Someone has to.
Yeah. So how did you just wake up one day and say, gee, dear, I think I'm going to go into radon?
No, to be honest, my brother-in-laws actually started it. They had a little interest in it, and then it became something. So then that's when I ended up getting involved and helping them out.
Okay. So you helped them out, and now you are the chief cook and bottle washer.
That is correct.
So with Mobile Radon Diagnostics, how many employees do you have?
We have a couple of crews and then office staff.
Okay. So it's a pretty good size operation.
I'd consider it small.
Do you? Okay.
Yes.
It's manageable.
Yes, very manageable.
That's great. That's great. So I did reach out, and Jean Willens, she's with Remax Referred Group. Thanks, Jean, for answering me. But she asked this question: what is radon, and where does radon come from?
Radon is a gas, and it does come from the initial breakdown of uranium deposits hundreds of feet down in the different rock beds. And then once that uranium decays, it turns into radium, which is also a solid. That breaks down and decays, and then eventually turns into the gas, radon gas, and then the gas just permeates and wants to rise out of the ground.
So it's probably everywhere.
It is, well, wherever there's uranium, yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And, I mean, how do you find out where the uranium beds are?
There are actually some pretty good geological maps out there showing the different veins of uranium, but there are very small doses of uranium everywhere. So, yeah, potentially you could have radon in your house almost anywhere.
All right. So my question for you, are there some areas of the United States that are hotbeds for uranium?
Exactly. And the EPA has a really good map on their website for the hot zones for radon gas. Mm-hmm. Cincinnati happens to be a hot zone because there's a vein of uranium that according to the EPA, was once considered to be mined in this area, but then I don't think they did. But it runs up through Akron, up towards Youngstown, up that direction. So it kind of goes diagonally through Columbus and up towards Pennsylvania.
Are there areas in the country that are just nothing?
That's a really good question. I've not heard of an area where it's nothing. I've never heard of a house really testing for zero that sits on the ground.
Yeah. Well, Pam Benson with Remax Preferred Group, she asked this question. Why did we not hear about radon gas until when was it actually discovered?
Well, of course, I've always known that radon gas is there. It's always been a gas forever. I think they discovered it in the late 70s when they had a gentleman who worked for 3 Mile Island. The story goes that he set off the radiation detector on the way into work 3 days in a row. But on the way out, he was clean. On the way in, he was active. So they went to his house and found extremely high levels of radon gas, and it was being absorbed in his clothes and couldn't decay away fast enough by the time he got to work. So he set off the detectors. He had a lot on him. So I don't know for sure exactly, but I heard that he had over 3,000 picocuries in his house.
Wow.
So
that's a good story.
And then that's when they started and discovered, oh my gosh, radon gases in houses, and that's what started the whole thing.
So we hear about the health risks associated with radon, and Pam Benson asks, what's one of the greatest myths about radon?
Obviously, I've heard many, many myths over the years about all these little things about radon, but I would say to generalize it, the biggest myth about radon gas is that the house that you live in, its design, its structure, its age, all of that, whether it's walkout, slab, basement, non, all of that is that determines whether you have radon gas in the house or not, which is completely false. Your house has absolutely nothing to do with why you have radon gas. You could be living in just simply a cardboard box sitting on the ground, and you'll have radon gas in that cardboard box. It's that the gas is rising out of the ground everywhere all the time, and you then put a box over the ground, on the ground. So now you're trapping the radon gas. So it doesn't matter the design of that box. It's still a box. And that's, I would say, the greatest myth about it.
Interesting. Okay. So is there an acceptable level of radon in your home?
There's no safe level because obviously even at 0.1, you're still being contaminated a little bit by the radon gas. The EPA does recommend that homeowners try to maintain levels under 2.0 at all times. But of course, if you can get it as close to zero as possible, that would be the best.
And they measure that in what they call picocurie.
Yeah, measurement of radiation.
What is a picocurie?
Measurement of radiation.
Okay, measurement of radiation. Okay. So somebody came up with this measurement.
Madame Curie.
Okay.
She discovered that, and that's why it's picocuries.
Okay. All right. That's a good answer. I did not know that. So Pam Benson also asks, why is 4 picocuries per liter considered a safe level?
4 picocuries is not considered a safe level.
Okay.
4.0 picocuries is simply an action level used to help realtors and sellers and buyers make a decision at the time of a time-sensitive situation, such as the transaction of a house, to make a decision as to whether to mitigate at that time or not. 4 is just merely an action level. It is not a representation of any level of safety or health or anything. It's just a tool used for realtors and buyers and sellers to determine whether they should mitigate at that time or not.
Okay.
Period.
So if EPA determined that 4.0 is the action level, so anything I've been taught and told, and we pass this on to buyers, that if it's below 4 you really can't ask the seller to mitigate.
Well, you can ask anything.
You could. Yeah, sure you could. But the seller is not required to take action for anything below 4
And they're actually not required to take action above 4 either. It really is a negotiable. Yeah, as a realtor, you know, there's no law that states you have to mitigate for a buyer. It's really the market that is driving that. And the 4.0 basically comes from at a long time ago when they first introduced the whole. This is what I was told by the head of the EPA program who developed the whole radon way back when. He said that the Realtor Association asked for a tool, a number that they can use so that they could request mitigation or not.
Mm-hmm.
So the EPA did a study and looked at all the homes in the United States that they were able to mitigate and determined that for a reasonable amount of money, they can mitigate almost every house under 4.0 for a reasonable amount of money. So they said, okay, fine. There's your action level, 4.0.
Okay.
If they could have mitigated every house under 2.0 for a reasonable amount of money, that would have been the action level. But it's simply just a tool, a deciding factor, because you need some number to go by to say, okay, hey, we'd like you to mitigate, or okay, we're not going to mitigate at this time. We'll do more testing.
Okay. Which leads Pam into her final question, which was, isn't 3 to 3.9 just as dangerous?
Well, yeah, there's not much difference between 3.9 and 4.0. There's, you know. So, yeah, absolutely. Obviously, the lower you get, the better you are. And, of course, the EPA recommends that you try to maintain levels under 2.0 at all times. So,
okay, great. You have any veterans in your family?
No, I do not.
Okay. I would like to express my gratitude to all the troops, veterans, and first responders. These are the men and women who selflessly strive to keep our nation and city streets safe and free. And I don't know, I don't think I'd want their job. But without them, we would not enjoy the freedoms that we have in the United States today. So if you're out and about and you see someone in uniform, give them the thank you sign from afar. Go up and shake their hand. If you're in a restaurant, pick up their tab. Let them know that we thank them and we love them for everything that they do for us. And with that, we do need to go away for our first break. When we come back, we're going to have the Moment with Miles trivia question, and we'll also talk about how to get rid of radon. You're listening to the Rock and Roll Real Estate Hour on WDJO 99.5 FM, 107.9 FM, and 1480 AM.
Radon is a radioactive gas formed naturally by the decay of uranium in the soil. Unless you test for it, you'll never know it's there. Radon gas decays into particles that can get trapped in your lungs. The Surgeon General has warned that radon is a leading cause of lung cancer. Mobile Radon Diagnostics has been mitigating and testing radon since 1987. If you have a high radon reading, we can fix it. Guaranteed. Visit mobileradondiagnostics.com or call 513-271-1212.
Hey, the Monkees, Mickey Dolenz, and Mike Nesmith are coming to your town for a night of music, harmony, and fun, playing all their hits and deep cuts in a not-to-be-missed evening of songs and stories. The Monkees, live in concert. Catch all the classics in one amazing night, Friday, June 15th, Rose Music Center at the Heights. Reserve seats on sale now at Ticketmaster.com and RoseMusicCenter.com. The Monkees, Mickey Dolenz, and Mike Nesmith.
The best bakery in Cincinnati, North College Hill Bakery wants your vote for the sweetest bakery in America. If you appreciate their delicious pastries, cookies, cakes, and breads, all made fresh with the finest ingredients using time-tested recipes, then stop in at North College Hill Bakery on Galbraith Road.
15 or 13 police officers turn up with cancer over the years.
Hey, Phil, you're watching this morning. Thanks, Phil. Mary Jo, love you, dear. We've got Kathy. Kathy, we'll see you a little later on today. I got the batteries charged up for the camera. Rodney Sizemore's watching. You're down in Florida. Debbie, you guys get back? I was going to give you a call and see. I hope you made it back all right. And JD, thanks for watching, JD. Tom, Steve Casper. We got some bigwigs watching us this morning. Wow. Leon is watching. Gary, Amy, Teresa, we'll see you later on too. All right, we've got a ton of people watching so far. I hope you're enjoying the show at this point. I'm going to plug you back into the studio feed, and we'll get back. Well, 20 seconds? Oh.
Ready to roll.
Of Cincinnati, 6 miles west of Dillsboro, on State Route 62, just east of Friendship, Indiana. Phone 812-667-5645, 812-667-5645, friendshipfleamarket.com.
Get on. Let's rock the house.
Hey, we are rocking and rolling this morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Gary Rossignol with RE/MAX Preferred Group, better known as Cincinnati's only rock and roll realtor. And now the moment we have been waiting for.
So I'm sailing for tomorrow.
I'm going to play his music just so he feels good about this part of the show. Miles is not able to be with us this morning. However, he did give me a Remax trivia question to ask. So, in celebrating 20 years as a as a Remax broker in the state of Ohio, which we're celebrating this year, we're running this little campaign. So anybody who knows anything about Remax Preferred Group will possibly know the answer to this question. In the year 2000, Chris Beersford was awarded Broker Owner of the Year for Southern Ohio. In what year was Miles and Chris awarded Broker Owners of the Year for the United States of America? That's a huge award, and that's a good question. So anybody that knows the answer to that question, you can email me, Gary, at GaryRossignol, that's ROSSIGNOL.com, Gary at GaryRossignol.com. Give us the answer and who you are, and we will put your name into the hopper to win a huge gift, huge prize, not a gift, but a big prize, at our celebration on August the 25th, which will be the second annual Rock and Roll Chalk Art Hot Air Balloon Ride Festival, featuring the Remax Balloon and Bluestone Ivory. So, again, the question is, in the year 2000, Chris Beersford was awarded Broker Owner of the Year for Southern Ohio. In what year was Miles and Chris awarded Broker Owners of the Year for the United States of America? Email that to me, and you'll get your name in a hopper. We'll announce who the winners are later. I do have a trivia question winner, Rick Ham. He said he had both people. Bob Dylan wrote and recorded originally, and the Byrds made it very, very famous. So, Rick, you got yourself a $5 gift card to Starbucks. Thank you for participating. We appreciate that. We're going to have a short visit with Rhea Davidson of the Dragonfly Foundation later on in the show. We've got a lot of regular listeners each week, and I'm so happy and grateful for each and every one of you. Keep telling your friends to tune in. And the folks on Facebook, like me on Facebook if you like what you see and hear. We appreciate that. Next week, I have photographer extraordinaire, Krista Sills. How to avoid those bad MLS photos. MLS stands for Multiple Listing Service. And if you go on there and you look at some of the photos, you're saying, what are they trying to sell, a lamp? I mean, come on, folks. Come on. And it's not everybody, but there's enough agents who just don't know the difference, and they don't know that you can get your photos professionally done, and you can make or break the deal by what the buyer sees from right off the bat. And first impressions are the best impressions. There's no second chance for a first impression. So you got to hit them up right away. I have with me Mr. Tino Pucci with Mobile Radon Diagnostics. His phone number is 513-271-1212. That's 271-1212. He is the authority on radon in Cincinnati. There's a lot of good companies out there that do testing.
Yes, there are.
A lot of good companies in here.
Yes, there are.
And but you are one of the first in Cincinnati, and I've always recommended you. You've always come in. You've installed the mitigation systems to the customer's satisfaction. I've never had anybody ever complain about one aspect of a job that you've ever done. So that's a true and that's a favorable testimony.
Thank you.
And I just want to make that plain and clear publicly that you do an excellent job. Through the years, there's been companies come in, try and cut corners by using substandard materials, and they don't last. But you've always used top-notch materials. You always keep the aesthetics of the home first and foremost, and you recommend the placement of the radon system at all possible, so it's not something that you pull up and you say, oh, look at that ugly pipe sticking out of the side of the house. That just doesn't happen on your installations, and I'm very happy for that. So we want to talk about what can be done to reduce radon in a home. which is your expertise at this point.
Yeah, there's really only one method, and that is active soil depressurization. That,
Okay.
an active mitigation system is really the only way to reduce and maintain the low levels of radon gas in a house.
And what is a mitigation system?
A mitigation system is simply the process of creating a negative pressure field, basically a vacuum, underneath the entire footprint of the house. So it's like taking your vacuum cleaner, sticking it under your house, and sucking all the air that's coming out of the ground up through your vacuum cleaner and letting it vent up into the fresh air.
Okay.
And that's basically it.
So it's a huge central vacuum system.
I guess, yeah, you could look at it that way. Yep.
So, and is it a very costly adventure to have a home mitigated for radon?
Unlike the home dictating whether you have radon gas in the house or not, this is different. When you mitigate a house, yes, the design of the house does dictate the cost of the mitigation, because every house is designed differently, and some houses have multiple slabs, some have basements, some are just sitting on the ground, some have crawl spaces. So it really depends upon, some have multiple, just different areas of the home with 4-season rooms, and because of the current codes on how we're supposed to mitigate, because of course we're regulated by the state, it can be very costly. So, your basic mitigation for your basic simplest house is, somewhere in the 800s. And, we've mitigated homes that have been over 5,000. So
wow, okay.
It can get very expensive, very rare. Most of your homes are the basic area, somewhere around 8 to 1,200.
A lot of homes in Cincinnati come with partial basements, and they will have, now I know you have to create a vacuum. So what if you have those hairline cracks in the concrete floor in the basement?
Yeah, we try to caulk as much as we can.
Okay.
Obviously, some houses have finished basements or finished walls, and we're not going to start tearing up all the finished materials to get to those. So we do the best we can to seal up as much as we can. And again, that's another misconception. People think that we're caulking cracks and sealing openings to stop radon gas from coming in.
Right.
And that's not the purpose of it. We are actually sealing cracks and openings to prevent us from pulling air out of your house. Because again, we're trying to create a vacuum under your house, not in your house. And that's the reason for caulking. So sometimes when you have finished carpets, you have padding and carpet blocking that airflow as well. So that's kind of acting as if we had sealed it.
Yeah.
So that helps.
That's an interesting point, because I've had buyers, when we have this discussion about getting radon tested, we'll be looking at a house and they'll say, well, there's this crack in the floor. If I just seal that up, that'll stop the radon from coming in.
It doesn't.
No.
No, because it's radiation. Remember, it penetrates everything. So
Penetrates
you can't stop it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right. Okay. Wow. See, I learned something this morning.
I mean, water even penetrates concrete.
Well, yeah.
Sure.
Sure.
Your concrete floor doesn't stop your house from flooding. So the water still comes in, so does air and radiation.
Good point. Jean Willens asked another question. She says, does a radon mitigation system need any future inspections once it's installed?
I do believe that it is recommended every time you sell a house to have the system inspected or at least tested. I know the EPA's recommendation is that you test once every 2 years. That's really, other than ensuring that the fan is running, which is the system monitor that we put on all our systems, the only way to truly know that the system is doing its job is to actually test the house.
Okay.
So
what
yes.
is that? I've seen the radon mitigation systems in place, and you've got the little tube with a kind of a U,
it's
and
what
has
we
that
call
red stuff. What's that stuff?
We call that the system monitor, and all that is a YouTube manometer. So it's measuring and showing you that you have a vacuum inside the pipe.
Okay.
The differential of air from outside the pipe to inside. So it's showing you that there's something causing a vacuum in that pipe, and that's what a YouTube manometer does.
What is that red stuff?
Oh, it's just oil.
Oh, okay.
Some form of red oil. Yeah,
Often wonder what.
That's why it doesn't evaporate.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was wondering about that. That's interesting. So are there any regulations on radon mitigation in Ohio? And if so, any new regulations from back when you started in the late 70s?
Yeah, it's definitely changed way over the years. And yes, there are tons of regulations. I couldn't even begin to get into how many regulations there are for us to mitigate a house.
Does it change every year?
They have a review every 5 years. So,
Okay.
yeah, every 5 years there could be updates, changes, depending upon what they all decide. But I think the biggest change from the beginning till now, if you were to sum it up, I would say is that there used to be what was called passive mitigation systems.
Right.
That we used to passively mitigate houses in the late 80s, early 90s, and that is has been proven to be a non-acceptable means of mitigation. So there is no such thing as passive mitigation at this time. The only way to truly mitigate a house is through active mitigation, meaning with a fan, a vacuum.
Yeah. I think builders automatically, when they built homes and they put a sump pump in the basement, they would put that passive system in. I think their thoughts were possibly if it needed mitigation later, the piping would be there already. You just have to add the fan. And
Well, it depends. Again, what they're told. Some builders are very, very educated on it and are concerned about it and do pre-pipe their houses for the possibility of mitigation.
Okay. So is radon in water?
It is.
Okay. And what about your drinking water?
You're going to find anything that comes from the tap. You really need well water to have the possibility of being contaminated by
All right.
radon in water. You're not going to, I mean, the amounts of radon in what we drink from the city is minute.
Okay, all right. So don't touch that dial. Stay tuned after these messages for my music trivia and more info on testing for radon. If you have a question, call us at 513-563-1480. And my guest this morning is Tino Pucci with Mobile Radon Diagnostics. His number is 513-271-1212. You're listening to WDJO 995 FM, 1079 FM, and 1480 AM.
Don't bother knocking, yeah, the house is a-rocking. Don't you bother, come on in.
Why rent when you can own with no money down? If you're looking to become a first-time homeowner in the Cincinnati or Northern Kentucky areas, or heck, even if you haven't owned a home in the past 3 years and are now looking to buy, you may be eligible to receive up to $15,000 in homeowners assistance towards closing costs, pre-closing expenses, or even your whole down payment. That's right, you can own your own home with no money down. Find out if you qualify. Call Gary at 513-777-2402. That's Gary at 513-777-2402.
Yanni with his spectacular orchestra, performing live at the Acropolis in all its majesty and beauty. One night only. Friday, July 27th, PNC Pavilion. A powerful 25-year celebration. Reserve seats on sale now at Ticketmaster.com and PNCPavilion.com. Yanni with his spectacular orchestra. Acropolis 25. Live.
Take a step back away from the hurried life you live today and relax. Take a stroll through Covered Bridge Antique Mall. For the past 25 years, they've been the go-to shop for treasure and bargain hunters from the tri-state and beyond. Beautiful antiques, jewelry, collectibles, and one-of-a-kind items. Covered Bridge Antique Mall, a truly unique shopping experience. 7508 Hamilton Avenue in the heart of historic Mount Healthy. 513-521-5739.
Welcome to Mount Healthy Auto Body.
Howdy, they call me Crash. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Had a little accident, need some body work.
Well, you've come to the right place. Crash.
You know, folks, I have these professionals come on here, and I learn too much. I know too much for make better. Some realtors say, if I don't know, it ain't going to hurt me. Well, you got to know. You got to know your business, and that's the whole purpose of the Rock and Roll Real Estate Hour is to learn as much as we possibly can. And I've learned a lot this morning, and I thank Tino for coming in and teaching me that stuff. We've got Lenny's watching. We had Joe Nab. Hey, I know you're all ears. Thanks, Joe, for watching. Felicia, Steve, got a lot of people watching this morning. The video will be on my Facebook page forever, as long as it'll stay there. You can go back and review it if you'd like, but I'm going to put you back into the studio feed, so you get the audio. I have my music trivia coming up next, and it's a good one, folks, so stay tuned. Keep watching.
There'll be a couple of afternoon showers and a thunderstorm, high 89. Rather cloudy tonight with a couple of showers and a heavy thunderstorm. Watch for flash flooding, low 69. Variable clouds tomorrow with a couple of showers and a thunderstorm, high 86. Still a couple of showers and a heavy thunderstorm, high 83 on Monday. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Heather Zaire on Cincinnati's Oldies Network, WDJO.
Hey, now's time for fun with Gary's Music Trivia, and here's the answer to the question. Back in 1964, during an evening session, Bob Dylan recorded Mr. Tambourine Man at Columbia Recording Studios in New York City. This was the first session for the Another Side of Bob Dylan, which saw Dylan recording 14 original compositions that night. The Byrds later recorded a version of Mr. Tambourine Man that was released as their first single and reached number 1 on both the US and the UK chart. The Byrds' recording of the song was influential in initiating the musical subgenre of folk rock, leading many contemporary bands to mimic its fusion of jangly guitars and intellectual lyrics in the wake of the single's success. And on this day in 1972, Elvis Presley made entertainment history by performing 4 sold-out shows at New York's Madison Square Garden. Whoa. George Harrison, John Lennon, David Bowie, Bob Dylan, and Art Garfunkel were among musical stars that attended the shows. The shows were recorded and became the album Elvis as Recorded at Madison Square Garden. And also this day in 1972, Bruce Springsteen signed with Columbia Records and started to assemble the E Street Band from various Asbury Park ex-bandmates. Today in 1978, the Rolling Stones released Some Girls, their first studio album recorded with Ronnie Wood as a full member. The album cover was designed by Peter Cortison and featured the Rolling Stones in garish drag alongside select female celebrities and lingerie ads. The cover immediately ran into trouble when Lucille Ball, Farrah Fawcett, Liza Minnelli representing her mother, Judy Garland, Raquel Welch, and the estate of Marilyn Monroe threatened legal action. Today in 1979, the Bee Gees went to number 1 on the U.S. singles chart with Love You Inside Out. This was their 9th number 1 hit. Wow. And today in 1984, Cyndi Lauper started a 2-week run at number 1 on the U.S. singles chart with Time After Time. Lauper co-wrote Time After Time with Philadelphia-based Rob Hyman of the Hooters. And today in 2016, Paul Simon said he was elated to notch up his first UK number 1 studio album in 26 years after his 13th solo album, Stranger to Stranger, topped the charts. Interesting music. This is Les Paul. He was born today in 1915, and he was the inventor of the Gibson Les Paul guitar, who also had a 1953 hit single, Vaya con Dios, and his U.S. number 7 single, Hummingbird, with Mary Ford featuring his multi-layered recording techniques. He also pioneered close miking and echo delay recording. He broke his arm in a car accident and had it set in an angle so he could still play guitar. That's how committed he was. Paul died in a hospital in White Plains, New York at the age of 94, suffering from severe pneumonia on the 13th of August in 2009. And he changed the flavor of rock and roll guitars way back then. So thank you, Les Paul, for your intuitive and initiative. I mean, he came up with the echoes and the close miking and changed recording forever. What a great guy. Thank you very much. Hope you enjoyed these fun facts, and stay with us. I'm called the Rock and Roll Realtor because I play with the greatest classic rock band, Blue Stone Ivory, and you will be able to hear us live tonight at Bellevue Park, which is right on the river as the backdrop. We begin at 7 and play till 10. Tomorrow we will be at the Church of the Assumption in Mount Healthy from 6 until 9. This coming Wednesday we'll be at Liberty Center from 6 until 9 for a huge concert there on the square. And next Saturday we will be at Keener Park. That's a huge venue right there in the amphitheater. We're from 7 till 9 there. It's all free, folks. You can go to bluestoneivory.com and see our entire summer schedule. This is only the beginning. We have a huge summer tour coming up. Our truck is running great. The crew is ready to go. My horns are ready. My reeds are selected. We have our sets all planned out, and I'm ready and geared up for a great summer of music and real estate. So I love to do them both. And I have with me, because I look forward to this Saturday morning, every Saturday morning with my radio show, to bring you guests like Mr. Tino Pucci with Mobile Radon Diagnostic. His phone number is 271-1212, and he is the owner of one of the largest, oldest radon mitigation companies in the city of Cincinnati, probably in the country. No?
Don't know.
No? Okay. We don't know that.
We'll stick with Cincinnati.
Yeah, that's good. That's big enough anyway. So and I think we've touched on this, but if a test results as less than 4 picocuries per liter, what should the homeowner do?
If they're testing their own home?
Yes.
Then they are recommended that if it's above 2, to try to mitigate to get their levels below 2. If they test and their levels are below 2, then they're recommended to continue with long-term testing to verify that their levels truly are maintaining levels below 2.
So there's different kinds of devices for the short-term tests and long-term tests.
Yeah, so a short-term test is just a sampling of the potential level in your house year-round. So your contamination to radon gas is not measured in short-term periods of time. It doesn't matter really your exposure a day or an hour. Really what it matters is your year-to-year exposure, and that's how everything is based upon. So the only way to truly understand or know what your exposure is you need to test your house for an entire year. Obviously, you do a short-term test first just to verify that you don't have high levels. If you do come up with low levels, then you follow it up with a long-term test, possibly as long as a year. And if those long-year results are very low, below 2, then you're good to go. Of course, some people want to mitigate just to maintain that low level and have that guarantee. But really, the only way to understand your true exposure is year to year.
Mm-hmm. If you don't, if you don't know what radon is, you can go to mobileradondiagnostics.com, and you have the whole story about radon on there. In fact, I have your website right here. You have what is radon? You explain your services. You have some links. You have your blog, which is the Radon News. And if you want to order or contact them to get a test done, or if you know that your levels are high and you want to have your home mitigated, you can call them 513-271-1212, and they will come out and test for you and give you a quote on what it's going to take to mitigate your home. And you can pretty well guarantee 2 or below when you mitigate a home.
We're regulated to say 4 or below, but 85% of our homes come in below 2.
Okay, that's fair. That's a good. So what kind of equipment is required for the long-term test?
It's a long-term test kit that you would order from a manufacturer that manufactures long-term test kits. It's usually an alpha track detector. It's a film that basically measures those alpha particles being created from the radon gas. And
do you have those available?
No,
okay.
That is not something we do. That is something you would do on your own.
You recommend it?
Usually I recommend long-term testing as a follow-up to mitigation. So, for example, after an initial mitigation, we will conduct or ensure that a proper radon test short-term is conducted to ensure the levels of radon have been brought down. And then that recommendation of every 2 years doing another test. I usually recommend that they do a 1-year test, maybe after a year, and let that run for an entire year. So you're getting your result every 2 years, but you're doing a whole year test to ensure low levels.
We haven't talked about this yet on the show, and we don't really want to frighten people. But what are the what's the, if your radon levels are high and you just ignore it? What are the consequences?
Radon gas is known to be the second leading cause of lung cancer in the United States.
Okay.
Behind smoking. Of course.
Yeah. Would it be considered equal to secondhand smoke, or?
The way they do that, the way they list that is they say that if your levels are 9.9 picocuries or below, that's comparable to breathing in secondhand cigarette smoke. If your levels are 10.0 or above, then that's comparable to being a first-hand cigarette smoker.
Okay. I heard we were having a discussion about having you on the show, and somebody, this was at dinner last night, he just says, well, I just don't live in my basement, so it doesn't matter.
Well, there's radon gas throughout the whole house. Obviously,
it doesn't just stay in the basement.
No, it mixes with your air, and you have that air system that mixes it throughout your whole house. Generally speaking, in a active lived-in home, you can get 1/3 less per floor. So if it's 9 downstairs during a particular testing period, it could be 6 on the first floor and then 3 on the second floor.
Okay.
That's generalizing it. Some homes are a little more, have a little more airflow, and you get a little more equal between basement and first floor. But usually it's about 1/3 less per floor.
Have you ever tested homes on all 3 levels?
I don't think I've ever done it on all 3 levels. I've done it basement and first floor, yes.
Okay, all right. And so you know that those percentages are pretty much made.
Oh, yeah. And a lot of people do test basement and first floor at the same time, so I hear it from them as well.
Okay. That's Mr. Tino Pucci with Mobile Radon Diagnostics, 513-271-1212. If you're considering checking out your home for radon, whether it's a ranch on a slab, a basement that's finished, non-finished, whatever, you probably need to know about your radon levels in your home. Go to the best, and that is Tino Pucci with Mobile Radon Diagnostics. They will test it, and if there's any problem, he will explain it. He will give you a price to mitigate it, and they will maintain it from that, because you have a guarantee on your parts, I think is what, like 5 years?
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, and they use the best top-notch equipment. I've referred him many, many times. I've never had one customer come back or client come back and say they did a crappy job. They always do a good job. So that's a good testimony. So stay tuned. Don't touch that dial. We have a little visit with Rhea Davidson of the Dragonfly Foundation coming up. You've been listening to the Rock and Roll Real Estate Hour on WDJO 99.5 FM, 107.9 FM, and 1480 AM.
The house is a rockin', don't bother knocking.
Radon is a radioactive gas formed naturally by the decay of uranium in the soil. Unless you test for it, you'll never know it's there. Radon gas decays into particles that can get trapped in your lungs. The Surgeon General has warned that radon is a leading cause of lung cancer. Mobile Radon Diagnostics has been mitigating and testing radon since 1987. If you have a high radon reading, we can fix it. Guaranteed. Visit mobileradondiagnostics.com or call 513-271-1212.
2 musical icons, one incredible celebration. Boz Scaggs, America. The 4th of July, Rose Music Center at the Heights. Boz Scaggs. Together with America. Tickets on sale now at Ticketmaster.com or RoseMusicCenter.com. Come out and celebrate July 4th.
Everybody's Records is celebrating their 40th anniversary during the month of June with a party every Saturday. Located in the heart of Pleasant Ridge on Montgomery Road, Everybody's Records is a true Cincinnati music store icon. Everybody's Records has something for everybody. Tons of titles in every genre and a selection that is growing all the time, including a massive selection of vinyl, CDs, t-shirts, vinyl players, accessories, buttons, and patches. And Everybody's Records buys and sells new and used rock and roll CDs, and record albums. Celebrate 40 years with Everybody's Records, located at 6106 Montgomery Road, open Monday through Saturday, 11 till 9, Sunday, noon to 6.
If you care about what you eat, you read labels. Seems like the more bad stuff they take out, the more you get charged. Make a $4 product organic? $6. Gluten-free? And don't even go there. Go to brandless.com, where all the good stuff is just $3. Brandless has better everything for everyone, all $3. Labels that are clear and simple to understand at a price that will make you smile. Brandless.com. Start building your Brandless box today and get free shipping on your first order at brandless.com.
Why rent when you can own with no money down? If you're looking to become a first-time homeowner in the Cincinnati or Northern Kentucky areas, or heck, even if you haven't owned a home in the past 3 years and are now looking to buy, you may be eligible to receive up to $15,000 in homeowners assistance towards closing costs, pre-closing expenses, or even your whole down payment. That's right, you can own your own home with no money down. Find out if you qualify. Call Gary at 513-777-2402. That's Gary at 513-777-2402.
Get on. Hey, you've been listening to the Rock and Roll Real Estate Hour on WDJO 99.5 FM, 107.9 FM, and 1480 AM. And my name's Gary Rossignol with RE/MAX Preferred Group, better known as Cincinnati's Rock and Roll Realtor. I've had with me this morning my guest, Mr. Tino Pucci with Mobile Radon Diagnostics. That phone number is 513-271-1212. And on our break, we were talking about some other fabulous stuff, which we'll have him back on the show and talk about those. A great story. If you want to, call him and he'll tell you the story on the phone. We don't have time now because I look forward to this part of the show every week. And this lady, she is... She just brings sunshine wherever she goes, and look at the weather outside today. It's fabulous. That's because she walked outside her front door today, and she brought the sun with her. This is my friend, Miss Rhea Davidson with the Dragonfly Foundation. Good morning, Rhea. Hello. Oh,
hi, there we are.
There you are.
Sorry, I had a little technical difficulty. Oh, you guys are so sweet.
Well, you're the sweetheart lady. So we love to talk to you and see. You had some big things go on with the Dragonfly Foundation this past week.
Oh my gosh, we had the best week. So we held Camp Dragonfly for the second year, and it's a volunteer-driven program that helps incoming 5th and 6th graders learn about kindness, compassion, and philanthropy. So we teach them about doing good at home, at school, and in their community, and introduce them to not only Dragonfly, but other nonprofits. And it's all led by volunteers, and it was amazing, amazing. I encourage people to go to our Facebook page and check out some of the pictures that are there, and I'll be posting more over the weekend.
And you have a fabulous website, too. It's called Dragonfly, thedragonflyfoundation.org.
Right, or you can just do dragonfly.org.
Dragonfly.org, that's right. It takes a fabulous website.
Yeah,
so when you held this...
3 years to get that.
when you held this this kind of camp, it was, 2 days?
No, it was 5 days.
5 days, okay. So
it took about 4 months of planning to put it all together.
So you had volunteers, but were these specialized volunteers to teach this type of thing for the kids?
Nope, but we did have, so we worked on a curriculum together, the volunteers and I, and then we brought in specific speakers to illustrate or explain opportunities and things that they could do to not only feel better about themselves. Like, for example, one activity that they did was they had to identify something that they liked about themselves and take a picture of it and explain why. Because sometimes you can feel bad, like, I don't look good today, or I don't, I'm not worthy, or nobody likes me. And then that affects how you are to other people. So if you can like yourself, you can be better to other people. So the kids took pictures of things that they liked. One was eyes, one was legs. So one kid said, I like my brain because it lets me play video games and not be a zombie.
Okay.
And then if we can like them, then we, if they can like things about themselves, then the next activity was catch yourself being good and catch others being good. So they would write down things in a book that said, I picked up something that fell and gave it back to Kim today. I opened a door for Miss Mo as she walked in. I helped my mom empty the dishwasher. And so over the course of a week, then they ended up like doing an activity that illustrated how many good things people did just in the course of a week.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was from that, let's plan a fundraiser. And they chose Dragonfly. We gave them an opportunity to choose any of the nonprofits that came in, but they chose Dragonfly. And over the course of a week, they planned all the games, what food, they got raffle baskets, they did the theme, they decorated. And last night, in an hour and a half, they raised $1,000 for us.
Wow. That's huge. And
in 1 week of planning and coming together as a group, yeah.
You know, and I have somebody on Facebook that comes on almost a couple of times a week and goes into these long discussions about her depression and you know how it's a disease and the problems that they go through with that, and to dwell on being depressed versus dwelling on doing good things like this. I mean, this will change the whole paradigm of these kids growing up and not possibly battling depression, you know?
You know what's really interesting? The kids that came last year, their mom sent us a note before camp started saying that to this day, he still pulls out all the things, because we give them a take-home every day that follows, you know, these remembrances, like remember you're kind, remember you're good. And he would pull them out all throughout the year going, Mom, you know, I had a bad day, but this made me happier, and this reminded me why I'm a good person, and, you know, I might not have reacted to help someone as quick, but I'm going to react quicker tomorrow to help someone, you know, and it's the little things in life that make worth living, not just for you, but for everybody else too.
And these are, yeah, go ahead.
These are little ones. These are little ones, you know, and our biggest message is if they see a need, to not look away. And that's how Dragonfly got started. You know, we saw a need, didn't look away, and we took action. And even though we might not have had all the tools right away, you know, just like these kids didn't have the tools right away, you figure it out and you make it happen. And it's amazing, you know, what a little initiative can do.
Well, this sounds like something that could go beyond children. I mean, this is something that adults should probably get involved in.
Well, we're wanting student ambassador programs in all the schools, and the hope of that is to take the Camp Dragonfly curriculum ideas and to take it into the high schools, into the middle schools, and so that everybody can experience some of these things, because it's just so powerful. It really is.
Wow. And this has nothing to do with the whole purpose. Well, it has everything to do with how the Dragonfly Foundation.
It has everything to do with it. Everything. Because these kids are going to come into contact with our Dragonfly families, and they're not going to point and stare, and they're not going to go, hey, you're wearing a mask, and how are you going to eat through that mask? You know, they're going to be a little bit kinder, a little bit gentler. They're going to wave at them. They're going to help them if they're in a wheelchair. You know, they're going to come up and say hi instead of being afraid. You know, so kindness, compassion, and philanthropy have everything to do with Dragonfly.
That's fantastic.
Everything.
Dragonfly.org. Go to their website if you want to help the Dragonfly Foundation out today, right now. Get your smartphone out, your smart device, and text the word WINGS15, that's WINGS 15, to 71777. That's going to open you up to a very secure website where you can donate anywhere from $5, $50 to $500, whatever makes you feel good about helping out. What a fantastic organization the Dragonfly Foundation is. And thank you, Rhea, for coming on and sharing that with us. If you have a real estate question or just want to know about the value of your home, call me. I'm open for business. My phone number is 513-777-2402. Next week, we have the photographer extraordinaire, Krista Sills, how to avoid those bad MLS photos. Coming up next is Dane Donovan and the Car Tech Show. You don't want to miss that, so stay tuned right here on WDJO. To wrap up our show, This is Bluestone Ivory's live recorded version of a Beatles song you will probably hear us play tonight, Obla-dee, Obla-da. I play saxophone.
Saxophone.
Yeah.
Awesome. Do you sing also?
Do a little bit of backing vocals. Okay, folks, we're going to sign off now. The video will be on my Facebook page for the rest of the week and hopefully the rest of the year. Come on out to Bellevue tonight to see Bluestone Ivory live, and tomorrow night we will be at the Assumption Parish Festival in Mount Healthy. So good weekend for music. It's beautiful weather. Thank you for watching. Tell all your friends to tune in and like us on Facebook.